Hello, Bible readers. It's Monday, March 1st. We're starting a new book, Obadiah, and Psalm 82 and 83, and then 1 Corinthians. I'm going to do chapter 13. I don't do much with chapter 14. Obadiah means worshiper or servant of the Lord. There were 13 Obadiahs in the Old Testament. Obviously, one of them wrote this. King Ahab, for example, used an Obadiah to hide God's prophets in a cave. And King Jehoshaphat sent an Obadiah to teach the law in Judah. King Josiah used an Obadiah to oversee the temple's repair. Nehemiah, in his time, saw an Obadiah priest. So this word gets used quite a bit in the Old Testament. Notice the book of Obadiah isn't about Israel or Judah. Instead, it's about Edom. Now, I have studied Obadiah once in my life when I was in seminary, as you basically go through the whole Bible, and I didn't remember the distinction of Edom, what makes an Edomite. So I'm learning again here, too. Edomites are those descended from Esau. Esau, you might remember, is Jacob's brother, and Jacob and Esau, they're like chalk and cheese. And Esau has red hair. I always remember Esau as being the guy you'd probably rather have a beer with. Red hair, kind of strapping lad, and he sells his birthright for nothing. Anyway, his nickname, Esau's, was Edom because it means red. So I had a custodian when I was in high school. Great guy. Everybody called him Big Red. And so Edom, it's like, hey, Big Red. Edom, so these Edomites are the descendants of Esau. Edom has an on-again, off-again relationship with Israel and Judah. Obviously, Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, that's Jacob, right? Jacob is renamed Israel by God, and so the 12 tribes, Edomites would be different than the Israelites, right? But they end up settling in a nearby land. And so Edomites have an on-again, off-again relationship with Israel and Judah. Edomites are a relatively small, poor, insignificant group for most of what we know. But they're crafty, they're clever, they're scrappy. They know how to live in the hills, natural defenses, right? And so they're very prideful people. And dangerous to the nations around them. Not easy to just, bend to your will. So that's who Obadiah, this book, that's who Obadiah is talking about, are the Edomites. Okay, Psalm 82, we've got a poetic expression, as all the Psalms are, of faith that teaches us to show justice to the weak. And then Psalm 83 is a prayer for and trust in the fulfillment of God's reign in the midst of experiencing opposition and challenges. So those are the Psalms. And then we get to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I know the reading for today is 14, and do read 14. I'm not going to say a lot about that. I'm going to go back to 13 because, there's a lot to say. And here's what I learned about chapter 13. Chapter 13 is very familiar to us, especially any of us who've ever been to a wedding, right? Many of us include this as a reading in our wedding because it's about love. And what I learned was it's an encomium, E-N-C-O-M-I-U-M. Encomium is a type of rhetoric. Paul is writing his letters in a very Greek way, a way very appropriate to his era. And so a lot of times we'll come across a way that he's writing that it helps us to understand that he's writing in a certain way. And so he's trying to say something in particular about love, and he does so through this mode, an encomium. An encomium always has a prologue, and so he introduces love as the essence of a faithful life, and then he lists what love does. That's apparently normal for this kind of writing. Then he compares and contrasts love with other virtues. And then finally, there's a conclusion. And in the conclusion, like it's typical, it's, be like this person that I'm praising through this encomium, or do like this thing that I'm praising in this encomium. And in this case, it's love. Do love, be love to each other. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.